Another one.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Flow here with BK and Speaks. This week we will be recapping the Lions beating the Green Bay Packers 24-14 at Lambeau Field. Windy, rainy day, Speaks. Didn't matter. We went in there and ended up getting the W here.
Yeah, it was a great thing to see us going in there for 3 consecutive times now and beating Green Bay on their home turf. It feels good to win in Lambeau.
Yeah, in the last 2 years, too. That's what makes it even more fun. But the thing that I liked here, Speaks, is the Lions put the criticisms about them not being able to play outside to rest with this dominant victory. The weather was not great.
No.
It was raining the entire day. It was
classic
windy.
Lambeau game.
Classic Lambeau. And the Lions did it shorthanded too, Speaks. I mean, we have injuries all over this defense, and these guys continue to step up in the absences of these players with these injuries, and they're withstanding them, and they're ending up winning these games because of the resilience. We lose Brian Branch in this game in the second quarter to a targeting penalty, the heart and soul of the defense, basically.
And since Hutch has been out, yes, absolutely.
And it did not matter. It's like we didn't skip a beat. The defense just kept it moving.
No, next man up mentality. Kirby Joseph, he did his thing. It was great to see him step up. We'll get in that a little bit later, but it was just an all-around great performance by our squad, and everyone's stepping up when they need to, and this is just a great thing to see on all sides of the ball, special teams, defense, and offense, BK, in rough conditions.
Yeah, I didn't expect it. Like, everybody's been knocking us the entire year. Can we play outside? Can we play outside? Oh, I think they answered that call this weekend, and it was absolutely outstanding to see if you're a Lions fan.
Yeah, and we showed who the kings of the NFC North are. We went into Lambeau, and we took a beat down to Jordan Love and the Packers, and it was just a pleasure to see because them Packers fans, you know, yeah, we'll get into that a little bit later too, but Brian Branch gave him the old double salute, so it was nice to see.
Yeah, you could tell he was not happy about the call, nor were the rest of the Lions secondary, but they just kept it moving. Now the Lions' all-time record at Lambeau Field is up to 16, 36, and 3, including the playoff matchups. The Lions have now beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field in the last 3 meetings. I know you mentioned that earlier. Goff is the first Lions quarterback ever to win 3 consecutive games at Lambeau Field. The guy is just playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, Goff is playing great. I love everything that he's doing. He needs to be top tier consideration for MVP. But let's get into some cool stats about this Lions team. Lions win in consecutive weeks with under 300 total yards on offense for the first time in 20 years.
Crazy.
That's craziness. Goff has not thrown an incomplete pass in the first half in the last 4 games.
Absolutely nutty.
Saucy Goff, baby. He is just the real deal right now, man. It's even Rodgers was saying on Pat McAfee today, it's hard to throw completions in the NFL. And, everyone, when Goff was coming over, thought his career was dead, and he is just throwing darts out there. It's so awesome to see. The guys aren't even out of their breaks, and it's just right to them. It's a beautiful thing to watch right now.
Yeah, he's clicking on all cylinders, and to be able to make that many completions in a row and not have incompletions is no joke in this league. We are talking about the NFL.
Yeah.
Other quarterbacks around the league are noticing what he is doing, and they're saying this is almost impossible to do, and Goff continues to do it week in, week out. It's absolutely unbelievable.
And the elements too. And Brady was doing our commentating for this game, and he's like, I don't know about him wearing 2 gloves. I only wore one on the left hand, and he doesn't wear it all the time. I'm not sure how this goes. He made him eat those words really quickly, didn't he, BK?
Very quickly. I mean, Goff just answers the call. Every time it feels like he answers the call. It's spectacular to see if you're.
I love you, Brady. I just had to say that.
Another cool stat here while we're getting into the cool stats. Lions defense has not allowed 100 yards rushing to a running back of the opposing team in 681 days.
Woo!
Dominant
Let's
run
go.
defense. And then the last time that the Lions were 7-1 to start the season was 1956. In 8 games played this year, the Lions have scored 258 points which is tied for the most in team history during a stretch of this size. And then on the Lions' 6-game win streak, the Lions have 28 offensive touchdowns and 24 incompletions. They are the only team since at least 1940 with more TDs than incompletions in a 6-game span. Absolutely crazy. They can't even tell you what team did it last because they say at least the 1940s. That is how crazy what we are doing right now is. This is a freight train, and the Lions are playing spectacular.
It reminds me a lot of the greatest show on turf, back with St. Louis, Kurt Warner, Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce. I mean, we're on that level. Maybe the most recent team would be the New England Patriots, Tom Brady, Randy Moss team
that almost went undefeated.
Exactly. I mean, we haven't seen offense like this in a really long time, and then have a defense on the other side to be able to do what they're doing and always winning the turnover battles.
Yeah, we're getting a ton of praise in the media right now, Speaks, and it's getting tricky because you don't want the distractions to get to the team.
It's well warranted though.
But it's well warranted with how we've been playing. We have dominated week in and week out, and the praise concerns me. But this team, I believe that they have the mission. I believe that they have the focus to not let these outside noise distract them, and they're just going to keep pushing forward. And I love the way that Dan Campbell has these guys clicking.
Yeah, we're going to keep pushing forward, and we just added some value to the team now, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. A big trade today for the Detroit Lions. Lions trade with the Cleveland Browns. We received edge Zadarius Smith.
Let's
in
go,
the deal,
baby.
And the 2026 7th-round pick from the Cleveland Browns. The Browns receive our 5th-round pick this year and our 2026 6th-round pick. It sounds like this was a long time coming. The Browns knew that the Lions needed a pass rusher. They were trying to hold out for a large price tag in order to get the most trade value there. It doesn't sound like the Lions wanted to budge on the 4th-round pick. They were able to get it done for a 5th-round pick, and Zadarius Smith brings a lot of value to this team with his veteran presence. And on top of that, this is where it gets great, Speaks. Lions will only pay $605,000 of Zadarius Smith's salary this year. The Browns have already paid $11.3 of the salary, and then Smith is also under contract through 2025. And
so he'll be back next year.
And
baby.
we can play him on the other side of Hutch if he is productive this year. His 2025 contract option is $5.4 million. Very feasible there and affordable for us to get a quality edge rusher on the other side of Hutch. Not guaranteed, but if we want to re-sign him, we have the capability to do it with that number.
Yeah, Brad Holmes was cooking in the kitchen with this deal, just like he always does. I mean, that cap hit is, nothing in the grand scheme of things. And
especially in now's NFL.
Yeah, in now's NFL, and they know that we're making the Super Bowl run. They could have held us out to dry a little bit harder with this whole deal, and Holmes did his thing like he always does. So props to you, Brad Holmes. Keep doing your thing.
Yeah, he played it right, and he got a very quality player here in Zadarius Smith. His stats for the year, he's got 5 sacks. He's tied for 17th in the NFL with that number. He has 27 pressures, tied for 23rd among edge rushers on that stat, and a 19.1 win rate percentage on his pass rush. That's 12th among edge rushers. The guy is very productive and will be a huge boost to this defense.
Yeah, he's not only going to help us pressuring the quarterback, but he's going to help us in the run game as well. The dude is just a freak, and I like everything about his play. He has that motor that doesn't stop, and he's just going to elevate our team to where we were previously almost.
Yeah, and I think the other thing when you're talking about it is we get him for the next year. It's not just a rental situation here, Speaks. We're going to get him on the other side of Hutch if we want him next year. Being able to have that type of ability where we have the pass rusher in place for when Hutch returns and not just a rental to replace him is absolutely massive here.
Yeah, and we didn't, have to throw everything at him and give away too many assets to get him. So I think this was the best deal that we could have done, and I like everything about it. moving forward.
Yeah, I would have been sick too, man, if we didn't go out and get an edge rusher while we're on the Super Bowl run. If we don't end up winning the Super Bowl because we didn't have an edge rusher, that would have made me sick. I think now I can feel good if they don't win the Super Bowl. At least they tried.
We went for it. We went all in. We put all the chips in the center of the table, and we'll see what happens. I think this is going to elevate us and get us right back to where we were. Our confidence hasn't dwindled a bit since Hutch went down. We haven't lost since Hutch went down.
Pass rush is weaker, but that's
pass
okay.
rushes, we've been playing practice squad guys, so I think this gets us right back to where we were, and we'll see how we're cooking on Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what Zadarius Smith brings to the table for us. But with the offense this week, Speaks, we got to dive into it.
Yeah.
I think they did an okay job. I mean, they continue to just control the ball.
They did what they needed to do.
They control the ball and they play field position. And we take advantage of that field position. If we have an opportunity to score, we're scoring. We're doing a very good job at converting at that level. But our offense this week had 17 first downs, 124 rushing yards, 137 passing yards for 261 total yards. But then we also did go 2 for 2 on fourth down.
That was huge.
The little Dan Campbell special on it, Speaks.
Yeah, he has no fear, and I love the aggressiveness out of Dan Campbell. That play that they had for the first down, the touchdown to St. Brown, what a throw by Goff there.
And
catch. I mean, St. Brown even said after the game, he's like, I didn't think I had enough separation, and then I see it, Goff lets it go, puts it right where he needed to. I knew I had both feet in bounds, baby. That was a sweet catch and throw right there. It was awesome to see.
Just an incredible throw from Goff. He fit it into the tightest
window, back shoulder.
And St. Brown is probably the only guy on our roster that comes down with that ball. The guy is
I'd agree with you on that.
When he comes to making plays. But Montgomery had another productive game.
Knuckles and Sonic, man.
Yeah, Montgomery with 17 rushes for 73 yards and 3 catches for 23 yards. I think David Montgomery might be the best closer in the league, Speaks, when you're talking about a running back. Because when we have the lead and we put Montgomery in, he's getting 3 yards a touch, and it is just wearing on defenses. It is extremely difficult for teams to get us off the field, and he is just a battering ram when we get down the stretch there.
Yeah, Montgomery, besides that one fumble that almost cost us versus Minnesota, he has been elite closing out games. And then you add Sonic with his speed. He had 11 rushes for 65 yards, 1 TD, 1 catch for 11 yards. This duo is the best running back duo in the NFL. And they got the coolest nicknames in the NFL, too. It's awesome.
Yeah, and the bond between the two. I mean, that's the other thing you got to talk about. There is no egos between these two guys. They know that they have the common goal of winning the Super Bowl and that they both play off each other very well. You got Montgomery in there who's the battering ram. All of a sudden you bring Gibbs in, and then Gibbs can break it immediately. You give Gibbs any sort of space, he could take it 70 yards on you.
Brady even referenced it in the telecast that he's seen a lot of fast running backs in his day in the NFL. He even referenced Jamal Charles out of Kansas City and then Chris Johnson out of Tennessee, who are both burners. And he said that Gibbs has the same burst of speed that those two do. That's high praise.
Very high praise. Chris Johnson, he went for 2,000 yards.
They were calling him seasons. 2K, baby.
Yes, CJ 2K.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're getting the same thing with Gibbs, where if Gibbs was getting the carries and the work share load of those guys, he would be at that level.
We're just not asking that of him because we don't need that.
No, and it's the 1-2 punch. The 1-2 punch is what makes us so successful. And I think Gibbs and Montgomery have both played their part in that. I mean, St. Brown again this week with a good game, Speaks. 7 catches for 56 yards and a touchdown. That's now 6 straight games with a touchdown for St. Brown.
St. Brown, man, he is just amazing. And how about that tutty celebration, baby? That was sweet.
The headstand?
The headstand, man, that takes some skill.
You never see that. He said he saw that thing on tape, and he was like, I got to try it. And boy, did he pull it off. I don't know how you do that.
That was straight, man. That looked like a flagpole out there. That was nice.
That was crazy. But, I mean, when you're talking about the passing attack, other than St. Brown, it wasn't much. Laporta ended up with 2 catches for 28 yards. Patrick with 2 catches for 12 yards. And then Raymond had the 1 catch for 12 yards. Not really doing a lot in the passing attack. The running attack was pretty good, but overall, offensively, not doing a lot again here. But it's getting the job done with how they're putting the defense in good positions where they can succeed and give us the field position that we need in order to win these games.
Yeah, and we only have 1 drop all season. I said 1 drop all season. I mean, that is paying big dividends to what we're doing. I mean, when we're not dropping the ball, that's extending our drives and we're scoring touchdowns. So, I mean, this is awesome to see, and we just got to keep this up.
Yeah, it all starts up front, too, with this offense.
In the trenches, baby.
And, I mean, Goff even came out and said it in his post-game interview. He goes, our O-line is the core of our team.
Damn right it is.
The building block of our team, and they allowed us to do all the things we did offensively today. And the Lions' offensive line here continues to be the engine that helps this thing run. They are moving people speaks, and as long as they keep moving people like this, the Lions are a tough team to beat.
They're the toughest team to beat, in my opinion. I thought that we showed that we are the best team in the NFL going into Green Bay, a division rival who's had our number for how many years. They beat us the last game they played us at our house. We came into Lambeau and we took it to them.
In a big game.
In a huge game.
I mean, the winner of this game was the leader of the NFC North. We came in and we took care of business. And that's what you love to see with this is it was a massive environment. The Lions stood up to the environment and were absolutely ready to get it done.
Yeah, they had no fear in Green Bay. They were ready to rock and roll from the first kickoff, and it showed. It paid dividends. Campbell has these boys ready to play, and our boys are ready to play every week. It doesn't matter if we're playing in the mud, the snow, the dome. We're ready to go, baby.
Yeah, and I think the other thing here, too, Speaks, is nobody's really talking about it, but the special teams is the reason that we're winning these games.
You're damn right.
Where we're not scoring over 300 yards. Like, Jack Fox this week, our punter, had an average of 50 yards per punt.
That's insane.
On his 4 punts.
In the shitty weather.
And he had a long of 60, and he downed one inside of the 20. The fact that he was able to flip the field for us every time that we had to punt just changed the entire landscape of this game because our defense continued to come up with stops, and the field position game was the reason that we were able to pull this out.
Yeah, for him to be able to put a little back jizz on that one and the elements, I mean, come on, that's just unfair.
Fox is as good as it comes.
Foxy, baby. And then you got Jake Bates, continues to do his thing and remains perfect on the season, drilling a 27-yarder in awful windy, rainy conditions in Lambeau. He's now 12 for 12 on the season, and he went a perfect 3 for 3 on extra points. The cherry on top, Jake Bates, baby.
We just need him to stay consistent.
Yep.
That is the biggest thing here with Bates. If he can get it done and continue to stay consistent with what we're trying to do offensively and continue to get points, I think Bates is the perfect fit for us. He could be our guy going forward. Consistency is the key here.
Yeah, consistency is key. We don't have a large playing surface with him, so we'll see how he continues the trend, but it looks like it's in the right direction. And then let's get into the defense, shall we?
Yeah, who keeps coming up with the plays that we need in order to win these games. This week, when you look at the numbers, they're pretty skewed in favor of Green Bay, and we still ended up dominating this game. We allowed 20 first downs, 138 rushing yards, 273 passing yards for a total of 411 total yards, but we did come up with that one interception that changed the entire game.
Changed the whole complexity of the game after our best defensive player with, Hutch being out, Brian Branch going out, which was not an ejectable offense. I don't know what they want these guys to do. They're running 1,000,000 miles per hour, wet conditions. He comes in with the shoulder. Yes, his helmet, when you come down with the shoulder, your helmet's going to hit someone else's helmet. I can understand a flag in the new NFL. but to throw the guy out and the quick whistle in New York for the NFL, I mean, come on, man. That's weak.
On the game of the week, you're pulling out one of the best players for one of the teams, and it didn't make any sense to me either. I didn't think there was anything malicious about the hit there, Speaks. And I think, you talked about it a little bit. Kirby Joseph's interception changes this entire game. He comes up with that pick when it's a 10-3 game where Green Bay's trying to drive down before the half, put some points up. We force Love into making that very dangerous throw to his halfback. Kirby's all over it, picks it off, takes it for a touchdown. Completely changes the entire game as we get the ball in the second half and just put the game into a stranglehold at that point.
Yeah, Kirby read that play from the very beginning. He was, safety. He was moved all the way up. He knew exactly what was coming there, a little screen, and he took full advantage of it. And then after the game, the ball hawk himself wanted that microphone, if you saw it. He just kept reaching for it. That's what the ball hawk does. Kirby's the real deal, and he elevated his game when our best defensive player went out in Branch, and there was no lack in talent after that. I mean, we just next man up, baby. He is the man, and I love everything about Kirby, and he gave Hutch little props at the end of that interview. It was good to see.
Yeah, needed a playmaker, and Kirby has been the playmaker on defense. Keeps coming up with those big turnovers for us. And we got to talk about how shorthanded this defense is and how we're playing. As you talked about it earlier, we are playing practice squad guys right now.
Yeah.
The defensive line this weekend was shorthanded with injuries to Josh Paschal, Broderick Martin, and Mekhi Wingo. 3 starting defensive linemen out.
Those are big players for us.
It didn't matter. Was still able to get a pass rush, kind of fluster Jordan Love in a little bit of ways there. And the secondary has been playing pretty large for us here in the last couple of weeks. And it's just great to see other guys stepping up when we don't have the pass rush that we necessarily need right now. Hopefully Zadarius Smith helps with that in the upcoming week.
Yeah, and one guy that MCDC kind of challenged, and I thought he had a quiet, good game, was James Houston. I mean, he was bringing the pressure on that right side every single play, and it was great to see. He hasn't had the productivity that he had when he had his breakout campaign 2 years ago, but he had a great game for us, and with Smith coming over, that's only going to make him elevate his game that much more. So Houston, keep playing like that. I like seeing that out of you, my man.
Yeah, the way I see it lining up though right now, Speaks, is I think they're going to go with Levi Owuzurike on one side or Josh Paschal on one side and then Zadarius Smith on the other. Regardless, that is much better of a pass rush than what we're seeing right now. I think Pascal's ready to take that step forward, as well as Owuzurike, and I think those guys can fill in nicely for us in the absence of Hutch and trying to get some sort of pass rush here.
Yeah, there's a lot to like about this grit of this unit entering the second half of the season. I mean, we're all over everything right now. It was kind of funny. Elgington Jenkins of the Green Bay Packers said after the loss that the better team did not win, but the team that executed better won. And Goff, chuckled and said, yeah, I've heard it, and it's all right. He can say it. It's all good. We aren't worried about Green Bay. We're the kings of the NFC North. They're minuscule to us right now.
Yeah, you can try to rattle us with those type of comments, but it's not going to work. This Lions team is confident. They know what they can do. They were there last year, and they're just on that mission right now to get back to the Super Bowl and win one for Detroit. And if Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes pull this off,
Ben Johnson,
they will be gods in the city of Detroit. We have never won one of these. These guys have turned this around.
Aaron Glenn, too, sorry.
Yeah, these guys have turned this around completely, and they've got this team firing on all cylinders. I don't think I've ever seen anybody talk or heard anybody talk about the Lions the way that they are this year and how dominant we've been.
No, you turn on the TV, sports radio, everyone's giving praise to the Lions, the coaching staff, the players, the GM. It is a nice change of pace to hear, but it's also a little weird because we've been saying it since last year, and now people are finally starting to notice.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, it's we start clicking on all cylinders, and then all of a sudden everybody starts to become awake with what the Lions are over here. And we saw it last year. Towards the end of the year, I thought we were in a good spot to beat San Francisco. We dropped that game, and I don't think the Lions have forgotten about that, and I think they have the goal to get back there and they're on the fast track to get there.
We're on the fast track to get there, most definitely, and that's why the NFL is giving us these primetime games. Looking into next week's game, Detroit Lions at the Houston Texans, where this could be a really good game. Houston hasn't lost at home this year, BK.
No, I mean, they're tough. I think Houston, they're dealing with some injuries over there. Stephon Diggs being hurt for them for the season really hurts them. Nico Collins has also been injured over there, their top wide receiver. He might be back this week for them. But the Lions are 7-1 entering into this game. Houston 6-3. We are 3.5-point favorites, and the over/under set at 49.5. I'm looking forward to the Sunday night game here, Speaks.
I love the primetime games. It's always fun to watch, and everyone will be watching. There aren't 2 Sunday night games like they're doing on Monday night, so all of America will be tuned on this game, and I think it's going to be a good one, BK.
Yeah, my prediction for it, Speaks, is I got the Lions winning 31-27 here. Houston has not lost at home, like you mentioned. Lions traveled to the Texans after they had a tough loss last week at New York. So they're going to be hungry for that win. I think Nico Collins might be coming back from injury, but this Lions offense has been clicking on all cylinders, and I think our offensive line ends up taking over the game again, and we're able to pull this one out. Given last week with the Green Bay one, I did have us at 27-24 with Green Bay winning, but we were able to pull that one out, fortunately. But I think the Lions this week end up taking care of business again in a close one.
Yeah, I think we're going to take care of business as well, in the trenches specifically on offense and defense. We're going to bully them, especially with Smith coming over in the trade. I watched Houston's last game, and that offensive line is suspect, to say the very least. CJ Stroud has looked like he's kind of digressed a little bit. He's lost his weapons. He really needs Nico Collins with Stephon being out. So it should be interesting. I have us winning 33-17. I just don't see Houston be able to score that many points. Our offense is rolling on all cylinders. If we're such a dome team that everyone thinks we are, we're going to put up some points, and Ben Johnson's going to keep doing his thing. Aaron Glenn's going to have them all rip-roaring and ready to go on the defensive end. And then going back to the Green Bay game, I'm happy we were both wrong, because I said if Willis started that we would win 35-27, but I said if Love started, we'd lose 33-30. So either way, good results for us, and let's keep it going, baby.
Yeah, I'm excited for this week's game and keep this season rolling, Speaks. This has been a ton of fun to watch here in the first 9 weeks. But that's all we got for you here this week with Sports Flow with BK and Speaks. Thanks for joining us. We will be back next week to hopefully recap a victory over the Texans and look into the upcoming matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Take care.